Hi everybody, welcome to Dave C. Straight from the Pit. In today's show, I thought we would talk about the four 1982 straight arm mint on card G.I. Joes I have. And they're in the picture frame here. And this episode in particular, I wanted to focus on 1982 Zap and maybe tell the story about how I got this mint on card and maybe get into his character profile a little bit. The sun's coming in the window down here this afternoon, and it's kind of putting some light on this stuff, which is kind of nice. I like having the light shining in. A cold winter day, and kind of nice to have the sun coming in. I was going to put the window wide open, but then I think it would be just too blinding. But anyway, kind of nice to have that. So let's start here. So I've got four 1982 straight arms mint on card in my collection. It's first one is the Scarlet, 1982 Scarlet, and then I've got the Cobra Soldier, 1982, the Zap, and my favorite, Stalker. But yeah, I thought we would talk mostly today about Zap. So let's get into this character. He was a bazooka soldier, and he came with a bazooka, a backpack, and a helmet. And there were different variations of the bazooka. Some of them are really, really rare, and others not so much. The one in the package here is not the rare one. It is the more common one. The more rare one has kind of a funny handle at the front, kind of sought after by collectors. But I'm happy to have this one, regardless of what type of bazooka. One note with Zap that I remember that Larry Hama once talked about is that in the first production meetings in 1982 with Hasbro, when he had to come up with character profiles for these figures, they wanted a bazooka soldier. And Larry kind of laughed at it because this was supposed to be like a modern new army action force that was coming out to fight terrorists. And they had the latest technology supposedly. But I watched an interview with him, and he talked about how the bazooka was even outdated in Vietnam times. So to have a 1982 bazooka soldier would be kind of funny. But the executives actually wanted him to make sure that they had a bazooka soldier. So that's why this guy is a bazooka soldier. Because even in Vietnam, by then, they had rocket launchers and way better technology than bazookas. Bazookas were just tank destroyers, really, like back in World War II. And they weren't actually that effective even back then. So, yeah. But anyway, so he's pretty cool. I remember him from the Sunbow animated series and the Mass Device movie, the 5-parter that came out in 1983. And then he was also in G.I. Joe #1, of course. He's an original Joe, so he made his first appearance in G.I. Joe #1 of the Marvel book, June 1982. And I've got a couple of them here. Actually, I have 4 now. 4 of the original Marvel book. And they've gone up in value quite a bit. So I kind of try not to open them up as much as I used to. I've got one copy here that's a little bit rougher, one of the 4. So this is the one that I kind of flip through when I want to do a little glance through. But here's the first page that Zap appears on. And you can see him down there in the bottom left. And this is the very first issue where they're getting the Joe team together to battle this new terrorist group called Cobra. And General Hawk is in charge of the Joes, of course. And there he is there. But yeah, that's a fun issue that everybody knows. And one interesting thing about Zap is that it kind of confused some kids because he had the same head sculpt, as you can see there, as 4 other guys on the Joe team. 1982 Grand Slam, who's there. 1983 Grand Slam with the silver pads. 1982 Grunt. And 1983 Grunt, who came with the glider. So it kind of confused us because we had the same head for a few different figures. And I know that back then Marvel was still kind of in the beginning stages with A Real American Hero in 1982. And maybe they cheaped out with some parts. And in this case, it would be the head sculpt. In some of the other figures, they didn't cheap out. But I think with this one, they kind of did. So it's a little bit interesting. I mean, with Snake Eyes, they went with just an all-black figure with shape, which they talk about how it saved money for the paint, not having to have paint for the figure in production. But yeah, anyway, let's turn this guy around and look at his file card, and then I'll explain about how I ended up getting this this figure. So here it is, here flipped around, and as you can see, it's an 11 back, meaning that it has 11 photos of possible G.I. Joes that you could get, and the original one had 9. It just had these guys in the picture frame. And then a little bit later on in 1982, which is when this one came out, they included the Cobra officer, as you can see there, and the Cobra soldier that they just called Cobra, as you can see there. But yeah, so this is an 11 back one, which came out a little bit after the original one, but it's still in 1982. And you can see on mine it has this name on it written in marker, and that's kind of a special thing. I'll talk about that in a bit because it actually really means something to me, whereas maybe some collectors might be a little bit ticked that it's maybe devaluing their mint on card a little bit, maybe not so mint, but to me it's actually part of the story I'm going to tell, which is kind of cool. So like I said, I'll talk about that in a bit. I thought first we could just read Zap's file card here and take a look at it. So Bazooka Soldier, Zap. File name, Melendez, Raphael, J. Primary military specialty, engineer. Secondary military specialty, infantry, artillery. Birthplace, New York City. Grade, E4. Zap is the team's specialist in armor-piercing and anti-tank weapons, but also functions as a demolitions man. Specialized education, engineer school, ordnance school, advanced infantry training, qualified expert M14, M16, M19, 11A1, M79 grenade launcher, M72 law rocket, XM71A tow missile, XM47 Dragon missile. Zap is a fun-loving type. He's cool under fire. The stuff he works on could blow up at any time. So, back in 2014, I was able to get this figure, and I bought it off a woman who had it on eBay for a really good price. And when I asked her about it through an email, she said that she had misplaced this figure under her bed. she had it in a box where she was supposed to wrap it for her kid back in the 80s, but it never got wrapped. It was lost, and she had it under her bed for a long time. I don't know how many years. I didn't ask her that, but I'm guessing that she had just found it maybe before she put it up for sale. So anyway, yeah, so the reason why it has Mark on the back, to Mark, is because that's actually her kid's name. And he's like old now, like me, probably. So, but anyway, I just think that's cool because that's totally the type of thing that would go on in the 80s. I remember my Aunt Carol, she would hide tons of stuff for her kids and all over the house. And because they always had big, massive Christmases, and then they'd wrap everything up, and a lot of times things got lost or misplaced. I remember her laughing about that sometimes when we were playing board games and different things at her house. But anyway, so this is totally a case of that, where this woman, she misplaced this Zap figure that was supposed to go to her son Mark, which is cool because I mean that's way back in 1982, and to have it unopened now, still with the price tags on it. You can see it was from Walmart, $2.74, and then marked down to $2 in 1982. But yeah, to have it with that on it and then that neat marker on the back is pretty neat, and I like it because it just tells that story so well, instead of being like a pristine, perfect Zap figure, which I'd be, of course, fine having as well. I'm not going to lie about that, but yeah. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that story about it. In Mark Bellomo's book, there's a nice write-up here about Zap. And you can see here the different bazookas. And now that I've read this again, I see there's actually 3 different bazookas. Two that are the same but then have different coloration. And then there's the other one that has the 2-peg handle on the front instead of just the one. I believe that's the more rarer one. And then in this description as well, it states that there are 3 different colorations for the helmet. And it looks like I have the little bit lighter one in that bubble there. And definitely have the bazooka with the non-handle at the front. One thing that happens a lot that I've seen over the years with this guy is that his thumbs break. And I believe that's because kids would try to put the bazooka in his hand. And because the tabs on the bazooka are so thick, they would break the thumbs off. So it's kind of rare to find a loose one without at least one thumb missing. This loose version I have here actually has both thumbs missing. But I've got another one there that never came out of the package and never will probably come out of the package. And he has his thumbs, so that's good. I thought on this video I'd also add a Mate Mylar photo that he sent me on Instagram. And he's a totally awesome guy who probably everybody in the Joe community knows by now. He is a great toy photographer for 80s Joes and classified Joes. But yeah, so here's the photo that he sent me. He knows that stock is my favorite. But anyway, he said I could use this photo and put it in the video. So if you haven't checked out his stuff yet, make sure you see this link here and give it a go, because he's just a really genuine guy who just does really, really good work. Yeah, so I hope you liked that photo. And to end this video, I thought I would read off a question and maybe give an answer that somebody sent me. This one was via Instagram, And in case you guys don't know, I have an Instagram account, and I'm constantly putting new photos of the Joe room, the pit, different stuff in the collection that I have or that I've added, or just different funny poses of stuff, maybe some outdoor stuff, with the snow or different seasons. But anyway, so one of my followers on there asked a question. He direct messaged me, and he just asked me, it seems that most of your collection consists of 1980s G.I. Joes. Do you have any G.I. Joe classifieds? I like those better than 1980s G.I. Joes. Why do you prefer 1980s? So anyway, to answer the question, I think obviously for a lot of other people my age, it's based on nostalgia, because if there was no 1982 G.I. Joe to 1989, there would be no G.I. Joe classifieds now, because all the classified ones, the modern ones, are made after the likeness of the 80s G.I. Joes, like all the characters. And then number two, I just think that the 80s was such a powerful time for society, like a really fun, great time to live in and enjoy. It seemed that every 80s television show and most movies taught people like morals and ethics and good values that were really appreciated in society. And like for example, like knocking down Alex P. Keaton a couple notches when he's thinking that he's better than everybody else. Like it had like working class shows like Good Times, Laverne and Shirley, Sanford and Son, The Jeffersons. So yeah, there was a serious difference then compared to the stuff that came after the 80s that seemed to be like more about selfish values, maybe perhaps like with all the reality TV shows, kind of teaching people how to win at something and get to the top of the ladder, and not really caring as much about the people around them to get to that top of the ladder. So it was kind of the opposite in the 80s, where these shows they would teach these values and moral ethics, and kind of instilled them into people in society, kind of like teaching kids and people in general to be a good person. And to answer the second part of his question, I do have some classifieds. I had the Baroness, I had Lady J, and I did videos on those characters. And I had the Destro, the purple one or whatever, and the Cobra infantry was awesome. I really liked it, and so I actually sold those ones I had last October to make Christmas a little more affordable for what we wanted, and we ended up getting another Terrordrome because it's a 1986 Terrordrome, and we wanted to make our Cobra army bigger. So I sold off those 12 classifieds that I had and put that money towards that, so it made it easier to buy that. And but I actually bought a few more classifieds, the Cobra infantry one, because I really liked it and I kind of missed it. So those are in the room here, and plus I got the Snake Eyes and Timber, just because we have a couple dogs, and I always loved Timber from the cartoon and in the comic book. So Snake Eyes and Timber kind of go hand in hand. So I really appreciated that one when it came out. And I want to get the Alley Viper, and I also want to get the Cobra Officer that's coming out. So that's to answer the other part of the question. But I think when you put all that into one big ball, I think it just adds to why I really appreciate the 80s stuff compared to the modern stuff. But anyway, okay guys, I hope you really appreciated this video and had a good time watching it, and we'll see you next time.